The world is being broken, it's being changed. It's all part of the agenda of the globalists at the World Economic Forum. Greedy, rich corporations who were not elected or voted in, taking control and building a beast system, a digital surveillance state. George Orwell, 1984, Big Brother, the eye in the sky always watching you. Cameras, tracking and monitoring. Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Spoken of by the World Economic Forum. Corporation that is over all the world leaders and all the government. All world leaders from every nation could be seen going to the World Economic Forum to discuss how to bring about their beast system. Now, they said, the World Economic Forum said, by 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. They're going to own everything. You're going to own nothing. They are the super wealthy, the super rich. And what little the poor have left, the very little you have left, whether that be benefits at the mercy of the state to live, whether that be just getting by on everyday survival items in your cupboards, fridge, freezer, your food, your water, the normal necessities to survive and live that every human being should be entitled to, the grip is getting, the choke is getting more closed in. People are making videos on YouTube saying that some parents are having to go 3 days without food just so they can feed their children. You got pensioners in the winter eating a can of soup, warming a can of soup up in the microwave because they have hardly any food left, so they have a cheap can of soup with some bread. They can't put their heating on. They can't afford to live. On the street where I live, I'm not going to put them on camera, but where I live on my street, there's this little area on some steps outside of a big mobile phone company building. Homeless people are all coming together to help each other. They're sleeping rough in the doorways of these buildings. Some of these buildings, there are areas in these buildings that are not being used, they're empty, yet there's homeless sleeping on the doorsteps. Okay? The poor are going to lose whatever little they have left. This government and these corporations are evil and wicked. And they want us to comply to their beast system, their new world order. They want you to own nothing, whilst they, greedy fat cats, own everything. They are already super rich and wealthy. The money that they receive, yes, is enough for them to live a comfortable life, eating steak and drinking wine every single day, in a mansion, never having to worry about work. And they still won't get through all of that money at the end of their life. They have that much money, you couldn't spend it in a lifetime of 80, 90 years. Yet they still want to take the very little crumbs left on the poor people's plates. The digital ID is where we resist. Now, this is going to be the hardest part for many people, but the digital ID is the hill we die upon. Because if you give them that digital ID, if you take that digital ID will be required to access your banking system, to go into supermarkets, grocery stores, to buy food. It will be required for health. If you need to health, something goes wrong with you, you need treatment at a hospital. If you need treatment for your health, a digital ID will be required. If you want to travel on trains or you want to go travel and fly planes and go on holiday, a digital ID will be required. Do you not understand? The digital ID will be required for everything. Thus, you will not be able to buy or sell unless you have the mark of the beast, which is inside the right hand or inside the forehead, which will be implantable technology. Chips. The chips you put in your cats and dogs, your four-legged beasts, animals, are the chips they're going to put in human beings, which is the mark of the beast. Okay? We resisted the digital ID. What does that mean? It means we'll be blacklisted. It means we will be kicked out of the system. We will be kicked out of society. We will not be able to use our banking system. Everything's going online now on the mobile phone. They want you to have a smartphone. So what do we do by 2030? We throw the smartphones, we resist digital ID, and we say no, and we do not comply. In the meantime, we prep, we prepare. Okay? We get our own shelter, tent, survival equipment, bug out bags. We get our own seeds to grow our own crops. We try that. We learn about foraging, edibles that you can eat outdoors. Because there are things you can eat outdoors from the wilderness that you might not know about. Foraging. We learn about foraging. We learn how to hunt. Okay? And we do the best we can to survive outside this beast system. Because I believe that many of us Christians are going to be here as they're bringing it about. And it's going to affect us. It's going to affect us whilst we're all still here. The digital ID is coming in 2029. And we've been told by the UK government, you will not be able to work a job unless you have the digital ID. If you can't work a job, you have no money. If you have no money, you can't buy or sell. And soon you will need the digital ID to access your banking system anyway. If you don't have the digital ID, you can't access your bank. If you can't access your bank, once again, like I just said, you will not be able to buy or sell. The final step is putting the digital ID, that they're going to use the digital ID to get full control over every aspect of your life. And then they're going to say, when you're fully at the mercy of them, the government, when you're fully at the mercy of them and the beast, they're going to say you've got to take the chip inside the hand or the head or you can't buy or sell. And that's going to be the mark of the beast of Revelation 13, warned of by John in the book of Revelation. Okay? John told us the beast had the mouth of a lion, body of a leopard, feet like a bear. Okay? When you look at the UK government logo, you will see the lion beast. It has the mouth of a lion. It's open. It's roaring like a lion. Mouth like a lion. Body like a leopard. Thin body. Not a full big lion body. It's got a mouth like a lion. Leopard body. Feet like a bear. Beast is on the UK government logo, and the UK government are pushing digital IDs to get full control over every citizen in this country. Mark my words, 2030 and beyond, if you do not have the digital ID, you will be blacklisted and kicked out of society. You will not be able to participate at all. They own the banks, they own the food stores, they own the hospitals, NHS, they own everything already. All they need is to tighten the grip on control, and that's by digitally imprisoning you. Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Let's check out the advert, published by the one and only World Economic Forum. So, that was an advert from the World Economic Forum. Agenda 2030, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Okay? The founder of the World Economic Forum, the CEO, the head of the World Economic Forum that made the World Economic Forum, his name is Klaus Schwab. Let's see what Klaus Schwab has to say through the World Economic Forum. He is the founder of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and he's the one that's pushing Agenda 2030. You will own nothing and you will be happy. And it goes way further than that. I'm going to show you how they're bringing the mark of the beast, and it's through his own words. But here we have him saying the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. In other words, welcome to the New World Order, the beast system. So yeah, that's, the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity. So does that mean that the pandemic is actually a scamdemic? Does that mean that it was purposely done on purpose to bring about their great reset, their New World Order, their beast system? Yes, it does. It was fake. The whole thing. The problem that we have is not globalization. The problem is a lack of global governance. One world government doesn't sound like much of a conspiracy now, does it, when it's coming out of their own mouths and all the world leaders of every country are coming to this man and his place to discuss how to bring this about. Global governance. Global one world government. That's going to be the beast system. We know the beast, the Antichrist, is the one world leader that will run the whole world through a global government. There will be a global government. There will be a global digital currency. There will be a global tracking and tracing and monitoring system over the entire world. Started in China and now it's coming out of America and the UK and the European countries, the EU. The whole entire world is being took over by the beast system, as we can clearly see, and they're talking about global governance. As you can see, the World Economic Forum's official page tweeted this on X. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. They're telling us this themselves out of their own mouths. And all the world leaders can be found with them at the World Economic Forum. Google any world leader. Macron from France, King Charles from the UK, Keir Starmer from the UK. All of the world leaders, Zelensky, all of them, all the world leaders can be seen at the World Economic Forum. They are meeting to conspire against the citizens on earth, God's people. And they are also conspiring how to take on God at his second coming. They're going to unite all the armies on the earth to fight Jesus. First, they're going to try and chip as many humans as they can with a mark to deceive them into going to hell with them. This government's going down in flames and they're going to take as many with them as they can. But this is what they've posted. Welcome to 2030. I own nothing and have no privacy and life has never been better. And underneath the picture of the woman speaking at the World Economic Forum says, welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better. You can have no privacy. They're going to track and trace. They're going to know every transaction, everything you buy, everywhere you go. Every single thing in your life is going to be controlled by the Antichrist, the beast. And once he has full control over every aspect of your lives, he will set up an image to himself and he will force the world to bow to his image. You don't just have, it's not just going to be a mark inside the hand and the head. They force them to worship the man of sin, the Antichrist. That's what's going to happen. Those who go with the beast system are going to not just take his mark, they're going to worship him and his image. We know that Jesus Christ is God. He's the only one worthy of our worship, but they are going to be forced to worship the beast, the Antichrist, and receive his mark. So once they've got complete control over every aspect of their lives, they can then force them to worship an image to the beast. Bit like what King Nebuchadnezzar did in Babylon, when he set up a golden image of himself and forced everyone to bow to it. That's going to happen again. It says in Revelation, they give life, they give breath to the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image to be killed. There's going to be worship tied to it. They're going to force them to worship him as well. So, I told you in this video that the final goal is they're going to try and implant chips in your hand or your head. The mark of the beast will be implantable technology. This digital system they're building, digital ID, is a form of control. So through your digital ID, they're going to get to know everything about you, and they're going to get full control with your banking, your health, everything is going to be required to have a digital ID. Then they're going to force a chip inside the head and the hand. Now, this isn't me just saying it. This isn't John just saying it in the book of Revelation. This is Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum saying it. Look how he addresses the crowd. What does he say to them? He says, you all will have brain implants.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think
doesn't get any more clearer than that, guys, does it? We also had CEO of the phone brand Nokia speak at the World Economic Forum. He said by 2030 the mobile phones will be gone. They won't be the most common interface, and he said many of these phones are going to be built directly into our bodies. They're going to implant the phones in their bodies. Technology in the body.
Such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant.
Absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies. Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
Revelation 13, 16, 18. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
The Internet of Bodies. An ecosystem of internet-connected devices that can alter the capabilities of our bodies, collect personal, intimate data about us so we can learn more about and improve ourselves. We're currently living in an era that's defined by what people are calling the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things. Many devices are moving onto and into our bodies. There's a small but growing movement of people who are early adopters of radical technologies like self-implanted devices. I met a man named Aaron who had about 7 microchips implanted in various parts of his hands. These chips are about the size of a grain of rice and are implanted just under the surface of the skin with an enormous syringe. Aaron was able to unlock his smart front door with 1 microchip and scan another chip with his phone and pull up his personal website. Some of you might start Googling where you can get your microchip implanted, but others of you are probably a bit more cautious about the idea. Even though it's a proven safe technology, it's basically the same technology we use to chip our dogs and cats.
So everything going on in the world is not by mistake. Digital ID, Agenda 2030, you learn nothing and be happy. They're bringing the beast system, that's what this whole thing is. Chips inside the body. Resist. You were saved by believing in the death, burial and resurrection of Jesus Christ for your sins. The gospel of your salvation is written in 1 Corinthians 15:3-4. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, and that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. Believe in that gospel of Christ's death, burial and resurrection, and you shall be saved. God bless you all.